Welcome back to Mixtape 51. I'm Jade, and I discuss everything photography on this channel. On this one, I'm having issues today talking. I'm discussing the X100VI. I got super lucky and was able to purchase one just by accident checking out the website and noticing that they were available. But I realized that the front dial and the back command dial are a bit confusing, I think, to set up and to know what they do and how they work and operate. And so I thought, if this is confusing for me, it's probably going to be confusing for someone else. And it might be helpful to put together a video just to kind of explain the setup and how they work. And so that's what this one's all about. And I'll go ahead and jump into it. All right, you may want to get a coffee for this because it's a bit in depth and there's a lot of kind of quirks to this, I want to say, where it's maybe not just obvious, and just as long as you know what it is, then you're good to go. But let's start with the easiest one, which is going to be setting up the button for the control scroll on the back. And you can press that in and it's a button, and so that's what we're going to set up. So to start, I'm going to hold down on the display back button, which will take you as a shortcut to the Bluetooth and function setting menu. And I'm going to scroll down here, and this menu is real clear cut, which is nice. So I'm going to keep on scrolling down until I get to that control wheel. And as you can see, I already have this set up, but I just want to show you that you have 9 pages to choose from. Now, I've kept this at focus check, and I'll show you what that is. So let me go ahead and click on that so it's still selected. I'm going to go ahead and half press the shutter button to get out of that. And when I press that button, you'll notice that it zooms in on my table chair there so that I can check the focus. And for me, that shortcut's just a really good fit. I love that particular feature, and I find that that button's a good placement for it. By the way, so that you know how to get to that section without using the shortcut, I'll show it to you real quick. So you go to Menu OK, and then within the wrench here, you go to Button Settings, or Button Dial Setting, and then Function Setting. And that will take you there. All right, so I'm going to back out of there and take you to the next thing that we're doing here. So for the next section, we're going to, again, go here to the wrench button dial setting. We're going to click in there, and we are going to go to command dial setting. What's kind of, I think, confusing here and a little bit of a gotcha is that you're thinking that this is just for the front dial, but if you scroll down to the fourth selection, it's actually for the back dial as well. And this is where you set that up too. So that's one of the confusing things about this. If you haven't scrolled down, that's the first thing to know. All right, so let's go up here to the first one. Now, as you can see, I'm going to click in here. You've got 2 options you can choose. Because it's the front dial, I always go with aperture because it just makes more sense to me. So that's what I go ahead and click. For the second option, I'm going to choose exposure compensation, but you can see here that you have other options you can choose from. And I'm going to click on that. And then for my third option, I'm going to choose ISO. But again, you have other options you can choose from. So I've gone ahead and clicked ISO. And I'll come back to the back dial after we've gone through this. Now that I have those set up, I'm going to click out of there. And I'm going to scroll down to the second page here. And I'm going to... Oops, let me explain where I'm going. Aperture ring setting A, and here is where you choose whether it's using the command dial or whether it's using the auto feature when A is selected on the aperture ring. So I'm going to go ahead and, so I can show you everything, choose command so that it just doesn't default to auto. But that's something that you do need to set up. Otherwise, you'll notice that the front command dial scroll wheel is not working for the aperture if you haven't set this properly. So I'm going to go ahead and exit out of here. I can go ahead and half press the shutter button. And let me go ahead and show you now how this works. Now, to be able to show you this demo here, I've also placed the ISO in the command setting, the C, and I've also put my compensation wheel into the C setting as well. And then you'll also notice that the shutter speed is in the A section. And this makes it so that I can control all three with this command dial as we set up in that menu. If you don't have these placed this way, you'll find that you can control one, but maybe not another. And I'm going to show you that. Now that we have all those settings properly set, you're going to notice here that there's a little blue notification over the aperture setting. And as I press in the front dial, it moves along here. So now I can control, my compensation, and now I can control my ISO. And I'll give a little spin here to each one so that you can see them move. And it's I think a really cool feature that with just the press of the button on the front command dial, you can easily switch between these three. But let me show you how that changes if the settings are adjusted on the dials here. All right, as I mentioned, I'm going to show you here now, if I adjust the shutter speed dial to the T position, for example, how that changes what you can control. All right, now on the back screen here, you're going to notice that I can still control the aperture. And if I click that front control dial, it allows me to go to the ISO setting, but I'm no longer able to control my compensation dial. And that was due to me adjusting the shutter speed dial that you saw on top there. Right, now that I've explained the front dial, I want to go back to that menu that I was showing you that allows us to adjust the back dial here. So I'm going to, I'll kind of back up here. We're going back to wrench. We're going to go back to button dial setting, click in there. I'm going to go back up to page 1 of 3, and we're going to go to command dial setting. And I'm going to scroll down here to where it highlights the back one, click in there. And now I've put this to shutter speed because, again, it just makes sense to me. It's on the back. I don't know, for some reason that mentally makes sense to me. But I just wanted to show you that this is what I've set it to, and I'm going to go ahead and click OK there. And there's another thing that you need to adjust, which is just below SS operation. This is another thing that you need to know, which can kind of be a gotcha, and you need to set that to on so that the dial actually works. I'm going to go ahead and half press the shutter button, and you'll notice here when I spin it, because I'm on T within the top dial, it allows me to adjust however I want. And I'll go ahead and show you here too. It will also allow you to adjust when you're on specific settings too. So just to give you a visual, if I adjust this dial to, let's say, a 15th, and we go back, so as you'll notice, we adjusted to a 15th, and if I use the scroll wheel, I can adjust up 2 increments and back 2. And it's also adjusting by a third increments, which is a nice thing to know about the scroll wheel, or the command dial, I should say, as where when you're using the dials, you're adjusting by a whole entire stop. On the topic of the fact that the command dial adjusts by a third adjustment, I wanted to show you something that I thought was kind of cool when I was playing around with this, which is if we move back up to the ISO dial, I'll show you there. On the ISO dial, if I go out of command here, I just want to show you that you can go down to 125 ISO, and that's the lowest setting. But if I go back to command and we go back to the back screen here, now that we're in command, you can see we're at an ISO of 250. If I click to it and I scroll down, I can go, let's see, let me show you. I can go to 100, I can go to 80, and I can go to 64. You're probably going to get some more noise there, I would imagine. Normally, the manufacturer is going to set up the ISO at the best setting possible for the cleanest image. So 64 is probably not going to be the most ideal, but I love the fact that you can get a slower ISO and utilize that by taking advantage of the command dial. All right, if I missed anything on the command dials, please let me know below, or if you've got any tips that maybe I missed that could help others, it'd be great to hear from you. Other than that, as always, I always try and promote I still can't talk. Promote my Etsy store. If you do anything there to help out the channel, or if you purchase anything, I greatly appreciate, I should say. And yeah, that's it. I will see you in the next one. All right, bye.